Hey guys, welcome to BEC part of the CPA series on my channel. So we've gone through FAR, reg, and audit, and thankfully I did pass BEC on the first try. Unlike audit, BEC did come through with an 80 as well, I believe. Yeah, it was an 80. So I started studying for BEC, like I mentioned in my previous video for audit. I started studying for BEC right after I took my second attempt of audit. It was so hard to move on and study for BEC because, like I said, I hadn't gotten my score back for audit yet. I had to wait a month for audit. So to wait for to start studying for BEC while waiting for a score is so hard. It was so hard. So in the first few weeks, I did take it slow. Like I would do I think Roger has 8 chapters for BEC. So I would do like a chapter a week. Like just take it slow because I was just so over this exam. I was so annoyed and I was just so sad. So I took it super slow. So I did take the full 8 weeks to study for BEC and then 2 more weeks of review. So that's 10 weeks in total. Yes, so a chapter each week. When I first started studying for BEC, I started with the business, economics, and the finance terms, which was really fine. Like, it was doable. I also did the technology part. And then my nightmare came. Cost accounting. The first few chapters were cool. I'm not really good with technology terms and all of that. So that, and like data and all of that. So that was a bit challenging, of course, but it's like memorizable, you know, like that's memorizable. And the business part, it's fine. Like that was fine. Some of the stuff in the business section was like from audit. So it was like, okay, this is doable. But here comes cost accounting. That's like chapter 6 and 7. Oh my God. Cost accounting? Like I had flashbacks from my undergrad years. Cost accounting was so hard for me. That class was so hard. I never understood it. I just flew by. I just crawled through that class during undergrad. So I already knew that those chapters I was going to struggle with, but I didn't know how much I was going to struggle because I was not counting on my course from undergrad at all because I didn't learn anything in that course. I don't even know how I was able to move on from that course because I never understood cost accounting. Like it makes no sense to me. So when the cost accounting sections came, chapter 6 and 7, oh my gosh, it took me a while. It took me a while for me to understand cost accounting. So like I've mentioned in my videos, when I'm studying for these exams, I am constantly reviewing everything. So by the time I got to cost accounting, I was already familiar with all of the chapters before that. All the chapters for technology, all the chapters for data, all of the chapters for business and like auditing terms. I was already familiar with all of that stuff. So now it was time for me to battle with cost accounting. And let me tell you, that was not easy. That was not easy. And by this time I have 5 more weeks to go till the exam. So yeah, I had to really keep practicing over and over and over again. And it wasn't until, but also keep in mind that you do not want to forget the first few chapters. So definitely keep reviewing that as well. But my focus was tackling cost accounting. So by the time I got to my review phase of the exam, so by the time I got to the last 2 weeks before the exam itself, I was starting to understand cost accounting a little bit more because I had done so much practice over and over and over again. By the time I was in my review phase, I was like, okay, this is doable. Like I wasn't feeling like, oh my God, I'm going into this exam without knowing anything about cost accounting. It was like, okay, I've memorized some formulas. It's starting to make sense. I've gone through all the chapters and now like I'm just reviewing. Everything is starting to like come together and it's starting to make sense. So I was like, okay, this review is definitely gonna lock everything in and I'm gonna understand it all. And thankfully I was right. So when I was reviewing like all the variances, I was like, okay, this makes sense. Like this is a different variance from the other one. And for this one, you're gonna do this and this and this. This is the formula for this one. So the variances, yeah, I'm saying variances a lot because that was my struggle. I could not understand that variance stuff. So when I finally came to the review phase, it just all started to make sense. Like everything just started to add up, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm getting these questions. I'm starting to get these questions correctly. I did still get a lot wrong. Don't get me wrong and think that I'm a cost accounting master now. Like, no, I'm not. It's just that I learned enough to get through this exam. So I definitely benched myself Rogers like performance reviews of like everyone, like the recommended performance for each section. So I did use that to like see how I was doing. And definitely the cost accounting chapters are the ones that took me the longest to reach the goal score for each for those chapters. So it did take a while. It wasn't until like the last week of my review that I actually reached the recommended score for that chapter for me to be able to say, okay, I'm ready for the exam. So it did take a while, for sure. It did take a while. But finally, during my last week, everything about variances just started to make sense, and I was ready. Like, I felt super ready for BEC, and I took the exam December 4th. Yeah, I took it December 4th. When I started the BEC exam, that first set of multiple choice took me an hour, because everything that I learned in the IT section in Roger, like I was not seeing it on the exam. Like the stuff I was getting on the exam just seemed so new. I did not know those terms. I was like, okay, some stuff I did see like while I was studying, but there are just some things that was like, I don't know this. Like I had to guess. Like there are just so many problems in that first testlet that I had to guess on, and I was like, yeah, this is not looking good for me at all. So that first set of multiple choice, I was like, there's no way. Like, I don't know this stuff. Like, am I tripping? Like, am I okay? Because I studied and I did not see this. Or I started blaming my course. Like, did Roger not do a good job? Because what is this stuff? And it just all seemed so new. I'm like, oh my, there's no way. I spent all of those hours studying while I'm working full time, just for me to come to the exam and I'm having to guess. Like, I studied so I don't have to guess. So it was so frustrating. I took an hour, which is so bad. Like I took an hour trying to solve variance problems, trying to understand these IT problems that I have not seen before, like these IT questions. I was so frustrated during that first testlet. Second testlet came, I'm an hour in, I'm like, yeah, I'm not about to spend 2 hours on this first two testlets. So the second testlet, I was like, yeah, if I know it, I know it. If I don't, I don't. So I like swim through that second testlet, and if I didn't know something, I'll have to move on. Like just pick an answer and move forward, because I was not about to stress myself during the sims. Okay, great. So the sims come. Honestly, for BEC, my sims were amazing. I did not have trouble with sims at all, and I was just okay. Let me not say at all, because you know, like with these exams, you will always have a sim that you just don't understand sometimes. Like you will definitely have a sim that you're just like side eye, like I don't know this one. But I did not struggle with the BEC sims. I felt like I had practiced a lot of sims, especially after audit. I was like, yeah, I'll definitely be practicing sims now. So I did practice a whole lot of sims for BEC as well. By the time that sims were coming at me, I was like, okay, I can even make educated guesses on these ones. And, you know, I felt comfortable. And I finished right on the mark. Literally, I had like, 10 more seconds left. So I finished on time. Well, that's not even on time, because you want to have enough time to like review stuff and all of that. But I finished right on the dot, and I left knowing that if I failed, I'll take it again. But that was the only exam I had left. I had passed all of the others, and I had enough time to take it again. You know, this was like 8 months into the journey since I've started. So this is December, and I had started the journey in March. So, you know, I had a few more months before scores start expiring. You know, I had basically a whole year left before scores start expiring. So I was like, if I failed, I don't mind taking BEC again. Like BEC was one of those exams that was just like, it's the last one. I'm not gonna stress myself. If I failed, I failed. It is what it is. I'll go into the new year knowing that I'll have to take another exam, which is a bummer, but I was like, it is what it is. So yeah, like I said, I took BEC December 4th, and then the score came out December 16th. Was it 16th? No, the score came out December 14th, I think. 14 or 15. And when the scores came out, whoo, man, I was so happy. I was so happy. I saw that 80 and I jumped. Like, I'm done. Like, oh my goodness. Like, I'm done. I was like, oh my goodness. From March to December, I have been studying for this exam nonstop. I will only take breaks between the score releases. I was like, oh my God, like, I'm done with these exams. I'm completely done. I would never have to worry about these exams again. So I'm just so glad that I started studying for these exams before I went full-time at work. So I got reg and FAR out of the way before I started working like full-time. And BEC and audit were the only exams I took while working a full-time job as an accountant. So I am just so glad that it's over. And anyone out there who's studying and you really want it, like if you really, really want it, you would put in the work and you will get it done. So, and I'll say if you fail, just try again. Like, don't give up on yourself. Definitely try again. Honestly, if I had failed like multiple times, like I hear people say they fail like 5, 6 times on one exam. Like, I honestly don't know what that's like because I only failed audit once and that was so devastating. I don't know how people go through it like more than that, but kudos to everyone that is taking this exam. It's not easy. So if you do fail 1, 2, 3 times and you want to try again and you really, really, really are determined to get this CPA, I think you should go ahead and try again. It's a great investment. I never thought I would get it because I always thought that since I'm not going into public accounting, I don't really need it. But I was motivated, and family, friends, professors, they encouraged me to do it. So I was like, you know what, why not? Why not? Especially when I have a little bit of free time after graduation and I'm not working. I haven't started my full-time job, so why not dedicate this time to getting this out of the way? So yeah, I'm so glad I did it early. If you could do it early, definitely do. But I do know that there are other people who do it with full-time jobs, with kids. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. So definitely it's doable, it's possible. When I was in undergrad and I would hear about the CPA and people would talk about it, I would just be like, I'm not going through that. I'm not doing none of that. Because why? Like, why do I need to put myself through that kind of torture if I don't even want to go into public accounting? Like, why do I want to do that to myself? So I always like shied away from that exam. I was always like, no, please. No, thanks. I'm all set. But look at me now. All done. Done with all 4 parts. So if you need motivation, use me as an example and you will be fine. You can get through this. You can do it. So just to close this video, my scores, FAR was 75, reg was 75, first try, which is like insane. Like, how lucky can I really be? Like 75. That's lucky. Like, I consider myself lucky because what? And then for audit, my luck ran out. I got a 69 and then took it again, 80, BEC 80 as well. Done. Finished. That's what, 8 months? All done, all set, and bye-bye to CPA exams. And now I'm just working, trying to get my hours so I can apply for the license. And I can definitely keep you guys updated on that as well. If you guys want, let me know in the comments. And yeah, I wish everyone luck. I love you. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.